We live in a world built entirely on code. Every financial transaction, every private message, every corporate secret, they all sit behind a digital wall, relying on the concept of a secure, static perimeter to keep them safe. But no wall is impenetrable. In reality, these digital perimeters fail because modern digital threats evolve faster than the foundational code protecting our networks. The fatal flaw here is the assumption of passive defense. A static, unmoving barrier cannot adapt to a continuous onslaught of dynamic attacks that change shape every second. Achieving true security means abandoning that passive mindset. We have to adopt an aggressive, offensive framework to anticipate how a breach actually happens. Forget the Hollywood myth of hacking as instantaneous magic, where a few keystrokes yield an access granted screen. The reality is raw, mechanical tradecraft. Welcome to CysecFrame. Our core philosophy is straightforward. To build an elite digital defender, you must first adopt the exact mindset of a malicious attacker. To acquire that mindset, we're starting from zero. We will follow the step-by-step lifecycle of how a network compromise actually occurs, starting with the mechanics. This graphic maps the anatomy of a breach. It begins here at reconnaissance. This is the initial phase where an attacker maps out a target's digital footprint entirely under the radar, without triggering a single alarm. Attackers rely heavily on open-source intelligence, or OSINT. OSINT involves systematically collecting publicly available data to hunt for forgotten assets. They are looking for old subdomains, abandoned IP addresses, and testing servers left exposed to the public internet. The necessary defensive countermeasure to this phase is attack surface management. Attack surface management is the continuous discovery and monitoring of all internet-facing assets to spot these exact blind spots before an attacker does. The core rule of the reconnaissance phase is absolute. A defender cannot protect an exposed asset if they do not even know it exists. Once the map is drawn, we advance to the second node on the timeline, vulnerability analysis. This is where those newly mapped exposed surfaces are rigorously probed for logical gaps. The primary targets during this probing phase are web application flaws and API security weaknesses. An API is a set of rules that allows different software systems to communicate with each other, making it a highly attractive entry point if improperly secured. This analytical phase is now integrating large language models. LLMs are advanced AI systems trained to recognize patterns in text and code. Both attackers and defenders are now utilizing these LLMs to perform rapid code summarization. They feed massive code bases into the AI to spot critical, systemic vulnerabilities in seconds, rather than the days it would take a human analyst. AI integration has turned analytical speed into a decisive advantage. The ability to parse code in real time determines who controls the network's vulnerabilities. The timeline then moves to the third phase, exploitation. This is the exact moment a discovered vulnerability is weaponized to bypass the structural barrier and gain internal access to the system. Exploitation is a highly calculated, mechanical execution of logic designed to trick a machine into obeying an unauthorized command. It is methodical, precise engineering. Once the barrier falls, we enter the final, most critical phase, post-exploitation. The attacker is now inside, navigating a complex, interconnected environment. The attacker's objective here is network pivoting. They move laterally from a low-level entry point to higher-value central nodes. A common method is executing Active Directory attacks. Active Directory is a service that manages permissions across a network, meaning compromising it grants total systemic control. To counter this, defenders must enforce strict API posture management. By restricting how internal software communicates, defenders isolate systems, ensuring an attacker is trapped in one area, even if the initial perimeter is breached. The initial access is only a foothold. The catastrophic damage occurs when an attacker moves laterally through the internal environment. Pulling back from these granular mechanics reveals the complete life cycle of an attack as a structured framework. Mastering offensive strategies like bug bounty hunting or Gen AI red teaming, the practice of intentionally attacking AI models to expose their flaws, serves a specific purpose. It is strictly for building architectural defense. Deeply understanding how an attacker dismantles a system is the only reliable way to fix the cracks before they are ever found. CysecFrame is a faceless channel because the identity of the person behind the screen is irrelevant. The applied knowledge is the only thing that matters. Before you go, drop a comment below. What specific security skill do you intend to master this year? Will it be reconnaissance, exploitation, or AI integration? System ready. Subscribe to join our community of tech-forward thinkers, and let's actively build your secure digital future. Let's get to work.